Chapter 10 Going Back to China Part 10 You are listening at novelfull.audio. A middle-aged woman was walking past the small restaurant but stopped in her tracks when she smelt something delicious. Ayu, I didn't know there was a restaurant here. It smells delicious. I want ramen too. Saying that she sat on an empty chair next to Xue Lin. Coming up. The man replied happily. So, this guy was looking for customers and he used me to lure more customers. Not a bad idea. This guy is more cunning than I thought. Xue Lin looked at the bowl of noodles. Still, he cooks well. Why hasn't this place become popular, I wonder? But first, I should finish soon and order another bowl. Then, she once again started eating. Slurp. This is so good. Xue Lin felt like she was in heaven. The combination of the vegetables with the noodles was great. The mix of spices was accurate. Before the second customer could get one bowl, Xue Lin finished her food and said, "Another bowl," with a poker face. The middle-aged man was surprised before chuckling. It's good that you have a big appetite at such a young age. Coming right away. A group of high school boys who hadn't had breakfast in the morning passed by and halted from the smell of ramen. Hey, I didn't know there was a shop like that. I'm starving. One of them said. His friend said, we still have time left. Let's check the dishes here. The boys sat down on the empty chairs. Their other friend sat next to Xue Lin and saw two empty bowls beside her. He was astonished and signaled his friends. His friends' jaws dropped as they saw the small girl finishing the third bowl of ramen and asking for more. When Xue Lin emptied her fifth bowl, a small group of people has already gathered around to eat ramen. Not only did the smell of food attract them but also the small girl who was eating non-stop. It perked their interest as they thought that the food was good enough to make a girl this hungry. Xue Lin opened her wallet to give the cook money but the middle-aged man shook his head. Because of you, I got so many customers for the first time. I won't take any money from you. Next time, bring your friends. With a filled stomach, Xue Lin's mood lifted. Her pale face looked radiant. She bowed deeply and said, "Thank you for the delicious meal. I'll come back again." After that, she turned around and left. The distance between her neighborhood and the bank was an hour by foot. Anyone would take the bus or car to go there. But Xue Lin walked. She took small steps and walked neither fast nor slow. She looked around and became familiar with the newly developed areas which she hadn't seen before. She felt slightly tired and stopped to buy mango juice and she would drink while walking, never stopping the movement in her legs. When she reached the bank, it was already 9 o'clock. The bank was open and the security guards gave her a familiar friendly smile. Miss Lin. It's been 2 years. How are you doing? Xue Lin gave them a warm smile. I'm fine. How are you all doing? We are fine as always. When did you come back? A few days ago. Where is the manager? Xue Lin looked around and saw many familiar faces. They greeted her with a friendly smile. She smiled back at them. The guard answered, "Sir is in his office. Please go inside." Xue Lin walked on as she greeted others and finally knocked on the door of the manager's room and she entered. Miss Lin, good morning. The manager looked surprised seeing her. He didn't think that she would come here today. Xue Lin bowed. Good morning, sorry I came without notifying you. I lost all my contact numbers. The manager professionally said, "It's perfectly all right. You're our customer. Whatever you need, you only have to ask and we are at your service." Xue Lin nodded. Have you prepared what I asked for? It will take 3 weeks to get your new credit card and as for your checkbook, it's ready. The manager opened a drawer and gave her a package. Thank you very much. Xue Lin took the package. I never thought that I would end up having a checkbook in this digital era. She knew that it would take time to get a credit card, and so she asked for a checkbook alongside. Chapter 11 Going Back to China Part 11 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shui Lin was glad that she sent money to this account every month. Since she hardly used the money for luxury, she saved it instead, and now this money will help her in her time of need. She took some money from the account and went to a shopping mall. There was a mobile phone store there. She bought her laptop and mobiles there when she was a student. The shop owner knew her. A fine young man greeted her as she entered. "Welcome to our shop, Miss Lin." He was startled. Shui Lin smirked. "It has been a while, hasn't it?" "It has. 3 years." The man tried to think. 2 years. Shui Lin corrected him. The young man said, "Is that so? You haven't changed at all, Miss Lin. I thought you left the city." "I didn't need to come here for a while, but now I need to. I need a good cell phone." Shui Lin started to look around. "Right away, Miss Lin." The man started to show her some phone models she would like. Shui Lin didn't take much time to choose a cell phone. She bought it and left, making her way to her middle school friend's house. Her friend's mother opened the door. She gasped after seeing her. "Shui Lin. Auntie." Shui Lin grinned like a kid. She loved this middle-aged woman who always acted caring towards her. She gave her a warm hug. The woman patted her slender back. "Oh my. You've changed a lot, dear. It has been so long. Now, you still remember your auntie, right? My stomach was craving for your cooking. I had to come here." Shui Lin couldn't stop smiling. "Come inside. I'll cook something delicious for you," the woman cheerfully said. She grabbed Shui Lin's hand and brought her inside. Shui Lin didn't see any other family members inside. She asked, "Auntie, are you alone at home?" "Oh, are you talking about Uncle? He is in the company. Mimi lives in Beijing and Mimi's elder brother left after being transferred. He took his wife with him." Auntie replied. "I see." Shui Lin nodded. She entered the dining room and sat at the table with her laptop. Shui Lin turned on the laptop and started working. She had to make some plans about leaving this place. The kitchen was attached to the dining room. She wanted to talk to Mimi's mother while she was working in the other room. Mimi's mother was chopping vegetables while saying, "You youngsters keep using laptops. I don't understand why you are all so addicted to it. When I was at your age, I was busy going out on dates with your uncle." "Ahahaha." Shui Lin laughed aloud. "Auntie, we aren't made of stone. We date too, you know." Mimi's mother scoffed. "I never see you or Mimi going out with guys. Honestly, what is wrong with you two? Is dating a man that hard?" Shui Lin shook her head. "Dating isn't hard. Finding out the right man is hard nowadays. If I find a man like Uncle who is still so caring towards you and still acts romantic as if you two are teenagers, I will certainly marry that man. I'll go to the temple tomorrow and pray for you two girls. I want you to capture a good man as soon as possible," Auntie said. Shui Lin chuckled. "There's nothing I wish for more." Unknown to Auntie, her smile slowly disappeared. "But Auntie, I don't think I can ever trust a man in my life." She shivered slightly and masked it so that Auntie couldn't notice. She didn't want others to worry about her. However, she needs to go home in the evening without anyone's notice. She doesn't have time to think about men. She has to develop her plan until she gets her passport and credit card again. She will apply for another passport tomorrow. As soon as she got a passport and credit card, there would be no one to stop her. Chapter 12 Going Back to China Part 12 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shui Lin had her lunch at Mimi's house and left when it was dark. She climbed the pipe and went back to her room. Judging by how calm the house was, she realized that they didn't notice anything. She went to sleep as she was tired. The next day, she woke up early and left the room by climbing down the pipe again. This time, she wrapped handkerchiefs around her palms. So, it wasn't painful like before. She went to the passport office. The officer said, "Ma'am, it will take 2 weeks, but if it's an emergency, then you can apply for it. It will cost you more than usual. It's an emergency. I want it in a week." Shui Lin replied. If she gets her passport sooner, she will leave the house. She will travel around China and then come back to get her credit card before leaving. After applying for the process, she walked around the city, and then went back to her neighborhood. The middle-aged man saw her and called out, "Little girl, you are here. Do you want some ramen?" Shui Lin stopped on her track and looked at his small restaurant. It was filled with customers. The cook was glowing with happiness. She walked closer and the cook gave her an extra seat to let her sit down. Soon she was served and she finished at least 3 bowls before getting up. She paid the bill this time and turned around to leave. Just then, someone called out her name, "Xiao Lin." Shui Lin startled before facing the person. It was one of her cousin's husbands. Her youngest brother. Law. He looked astonished and wasn't sure if it was her. "Oh right, I wasn't able to tell anyone that I came back," she thought. "How are you doing?" she asked while forcing a smile. Her brother. Law came closer. "I'm fine. But Xiao Lin, when did you come back? You didn't inform us of your arrival." He was genuinely surprised to see her. Shui Lin answered, "I lost all the contact numbers and I don't even know where you guys live anymore." She was polite when she talked to him. When she was in middle school, he helped her with studies. And Shui Lin has a habit of giving her teachers the utmost respect. "Are you free now? Let's go somewhere and have a little chit-chat. I'll take you to your favorite restaurant," he suggested. "I just ate." Shui Lin regretted eating ramen. Nothing could be more delicious than free food after all. He thought for a while. "Then let's go to an ice cream parlor first. We can have dinner together later." Shui Lin agreed. "Sure, I don't mind. How's cousin Wan Wan?" Wan Wan was her cousin with whom her brother. Law was married to. They walked side by side and continued their conversation. She went to the village to stay with her parents for a while. "She will come back tomorrow. When your sister comes back, visit us. She will be happy." "Okay, I will." "So, why are you in this neighborhood? You don't live here, do you? Can't I come here?" "You certainly can. I just asked you. I went to my friend's house for work. He lives in this neighborhood." Shui Lin sighed in relief. Thank goodness. As long as he knows nothing about her family situation, it will be better. They went to the ice cream parlor and ordered their favorites. They sat down in the corner. He asked her, "Why didn't you tell us before you leave? You didn't contact us either after going there. We suddenly heard from your parents that you left to study. How did you get money to study abroad?" Shui Lin sighed deeply. "You ask so many questions at once. I have done some freelance jobs since high school. And why didn't I tell you?" "Well, it's because I wasn't in a mood to talk to others. I wanted to leave so badly I didn't think of saying goodbye to anyone." He asked her, "I exceeded my expectations. I didn't think you would earn money like that." "Clever. Why did you want to leave? Weren't you planning on going to Beijing to study?" Shui Lin shook her head. "I was before, but things changed so much so that I couldn't even think about living here anymore." "But you came back." "I came back. Yeah. Shui Lin didn't elaborate on why she came back. She didn't feel like it. For some reason, the strawberry ice cream tasted bitter. Chapter 13 I Came, I Saw, I Married Part 1 You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the evening, they went to a seafood restaurant. Shui Lin loves seafood and all her relatives know it. She wanted to sit on her most favorite spot but she halted. Of course. She knew it. Deep down she had a feeling this might happen. She just wanted to believe her youngest brother. In law, that's all. A group of people was sitting together. 3 faces she knew very well. Her father, mother, and sister. The other 3 people, she didn't recognize them. But seeing a middle-aged couple and their son, it wasn't hard to guess what was going on. As everyone looked at her, Shui Lin still stood there. She couldn't decide whether she should leave or stay. Her brother. In law looked at her. He smiled and said, "What? Did we give you a pleasant surprise?" Shui Lin slowly turned to face him. Her eyes were as calm as the ocean. She realized that she was having trouble breathing, so she took some deep breaths. Her hands were trembling. She clenched her fists to stop her hands from shaking. Tonight, she doesn't know what she will do. She sat down with the rest and blankly looked at the 3 known faces. They looked rich. The middle-aged man had a beard and he wore a blue shirt and a white coat. He had a polite look on his face. The middle-aged woman wore a knee-length full-sleeved brown cocktail dress. She wore expensive diamond jewelry and heavy makeup. She had a haughty expression as though she was looking down at Shui Lin and her modest family. And then their son, he was wearing a black shirt and black pants. The first 3 buttons of the shirt were unbuttoned. He leaned back and eyed at Fa Jingfei, Shui Lin's sister. Shui Lin didn't bother to greet them since she didn't like them from the start. She got a bad vibe from them. In her eyes, that old man looked like a pervert, the old woman looked like a woman who slept around and their son looked like a playboy. Fa Xiaodan introduced his daughter in a friendly manner, "This is my youngest daughter I've been talking about. She is studying abroad." The middle-aged man looked at Shui Lin. He tried to smile and said, "I'm the Gu family's Gu Chuanli. That's my wife Bai Yu and my youngest son Gu Junjie. It's a pleasure to finally meet you." Shui Lin said, "Likewise." Her expression said otherwise. Bai Yu didn't like Shui Lin's attitude. She said, "You girl. How do you speak to your elders? Haven't your parents taught you anything?" Fa Xiaodan and Li Lifan flinched. They looked at their youngest daughter. Li Lifan glared at her and tried to signal her, but Shui Lin didn't bother looking at her. "My parents taught me many things, but I'm not planning to follow their path." "Dear, how can you choose an insolent girl for my one and only son?" Bai Yu looked at her husband feeling wronged. Shui Lin paused. "Didn't you just say this guy is your youngest son? How can he be your only son?" Bai Yu flinched. She glared at Shui Lin, but her glare was wasted. It didn't make Shui Lin uncomfortable. Gu Chuanli coughed and said, "My eldest son is from the first wife. She died of an illness." "Oh. I'm sorry to hear that. That must be hard for you." Li Lifan covered her mouth showing sadness. "H. Bai Yu's lips twisted. Shui Lin narrowed her eyes. She could already feel what was going on. No wonder she felt something bad from them the moment she landed her eyes on them. Gu Chuanli shook his hands. "Please don't worry, Mrs. Fa. I'm happy with my family." "Of course, you are. We can tell just by looking at you. You have such an accomplished son." Li Lifan was full of praise. Shui Lin looked at her mother and thought, why is she wagging her tail at them? He has to be. I'm the one who raised him. Bai Yu proudly said. Shui Lin felt like vomiting over her face. She couldn't help but think, this family is a match made in heaven. Since the food was served, everyone started to eat. Shui Lin lost her appetite the moment she saw them in the restaurant. Chapter 14 I Came, I Saw, I Married Part 2 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dear Lin, why aren't you eating? Doesn't it suit your taste? I remember to order your favorite dishes. Li Lifan said in a concerned tone. Shui Lin almost rolled her eyes. Her melodrama started. Shakespearean dramas failed to her melodrama. She looked at her mother and replied, how strange. They are not my favorite but your beloved eldest daughter's favorite. What kind of mother are you not to remember something like that? Her tone was ruthless and void of any emotion. Li Lifan's whole body stiffened. Fa Jingfei helped her mother. Xiao Lin, you shouldn't talk to your mother like that. She thought of you while ordering the meals. Here goes her sweet tongue. Shui Lin replied, she was thinking of me so much so that she ended up ordering someone else's favorite. How ironic. Ha ha ha. My youngest daughter always makes jokes. Please, Mr. Gu, don't take it seriously. Fa Xiaodan tried to make I was serious though. Shui Lin muttered and everyone heard her. Since her mood wasn't good, she wouldn't let them have a good meal. After all, they tricked her first. They didn't show her any empathy, so she wouldn't show them empathy either. She has no desire to be a saint. Not to them at least. Dad, I don't like her. She is too blunt and she has no womanly charm. If Grandpa really wants me to get married to this family, I'd rather take the elder sister. Gu Junjie pointed out at Fa Jingfei. Fa Jingfei was startled at first. Her face started to turn pale. It would be great to marry into the Gu family but she already heard from her mother that this guy was a well-known playboy. Any woman who marries him will have a painful life ahead. She started to stutter, that can't be. Even her mother Li Lifan was nervous. She didn't want her beloved daughter to get married to a scoundrel like him. Fa Xiaodan said, Xiao Junjie, please don't get mad. My Xiao Lan is acting like this because we gave her a surprise and she doesn't like surprises. This marriage was settled by your grandfather. You can't say no to him, right? He wouldn't dare to say no to the head of the Gu family. That unknown old geezer, whoever it is, died of a terrible disease. How dare you to try to arrange my marriage without my permission and you don't even know me? Shui Lin clenched her fists. Rich people are the worst. Just because they have money, they think they have the right to play with others' lives. No one saw Shui Lin's expression. It didn't look like Gu families Bai Yu and Gu Junjie were happy with an uneducated skinny girl, but Gu Chuanli and Fa Xiaodan continued their conversation. Sometimes, Shui Lin's brother-in-law joined them. Since it has been already decided, we can fix the date of the engagement. Gu Chuanli said. I agree. Fa Xiaodan nodded. Gu Junjie protested again, Dad, you can't be serious. This girl is so puny. She looks like a middle school student. I'm not a pedophile. Oh, hello. Doesn't my opinion matter? Why is everyone following an old man's order? Are they all puppets? And they think themselves as powerful people. How pathetic can it be? Shui Lin sighed. Gu Chuanli sighed. Son, that's not yours to decide. If it was that easy, we wouldn't tell you to come with us today. Don't forget, everything depends on your decision. Gu Junjie clicked his tongue in annoyance. He checked out La Jingfei once again making the mother-daughter pair stiffen. Shui Lin didn't look at her sister or mother. She suddenly wanted to laugh and she couldn't control it. She stopped eating and started laughing. Everyone looked at her in astonishment. She was thinking, this is the most hilarious matchmaking season that can ever happen to her. She laughed till her stomach started to hurt and her eyes teared up. No one knew if those tears were full of sadness or irony. Her mother didn't want her eldest daughter to marry into a family like this, but she insisted her youngest daughter marry this guy. What did she ever do to her parents to make them hate her so much so that they tricked her to come back to get married to a man like him? All of a sudden, she stopped smiling, and making everyone shocked, she grabbed the glass of wine and splashed the wine aiming at her father. Fa Xiaodan was drenched with red wine. She muttered, "Trash." The whole restaurant turned silent as they watched the story unfold. They heard the little girl called his father trash, humiliating him in front of everyone. Bvec Shui Lin wiped her mouth as everyone gaped at her. They couldn't utter a single word. They even forgot to breathe loudly. She stood up and turned around to leave. Before she left, she looked at Gu Chuanli and said, "Mister, tell your father that I'm not interested in someone's command whom I never met before. If he has enough free time, tell him to play with dolls. Human beings have lots of things to do. They don't have time for his childish game. It's a nasty one too." And they saw her leave. They couldn't do anything to stop her. Chapter 15 I Came, I Saw, I Married Part 3 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fa Xiaodan and Li Lifan were planning to introduce their youngest daughter to the Gu family. So, they asked Wanwan's husband, Yu Banshan, to help them. However, when they called for Shui Lin, they didn't hear her response. They got scared and used a ladder to climb to her balcony. They found her nowhere and it made them scared. They already dressed up and the Gu family would be in the restaurant soon. They started searching for her right away. Yu Banshan didn't think that he would find her before them. He called Fa Xiaodan to tell him that he found her. After contacting him, he talked to Shui Lin. Shui Lin let her guard down since he was her brother. In law. Unfortunately, she was betrayed once again. No one cared about her mood, her feelings. They just continued their drama and she watched them. Just when she couldn't take it anymore, her last thread of patience split apart and she threw the glass of wine at her father. When Shui Lin called Fa Xiaodan that he was trash, her tone was full of disdain and her look. It made him realize that he made the biggest mistake in his life. He lowered his head as she left the restaurant. He had no words to refute. They knew her temper. They knew what a good girl she was. They knew she worked hard for her freedom. Her results were better than all the relatives in their family. She was good at sports and arts. She was never addicted to drugs or she didn't spend time gossiping with friends. More than hanging out with friends till late at night, she tried to develop herself by attending training, joining volunteer works, and earning money. She used her money wisely and didn't spend it on useless shopping. But parents must raise their daughter and marry them off. It's Eastern Asia, not a Western country. Eastern countries have their own rules to follow. Girls must get married and they must obey their elders. Moreover, the Gu family is the most prominent and powerful in China. The eldest of the Gu family is a good friend of Fa Xiaodan's father. After Fa Xiaodan's father died, the elder came up with this marriage proposal and Fa Xiaodan couldn't say no to him. He would rather sacrifice his daughter than get on the bad side of the Gu family. That's why Fa Xiaodan and Li Lifan had to make Shui Lin come back. Who knew she would make a massacre in front of so many people? When Shui Lin was out of the restaurant, her brother. In law came after her. Xiao Lin, wait. You cannot act like this. Apologize to everyone. He grabbed her slender left arm. Shui Lin turned around and grabbed him by his collar. She pulled him closer and said, "Listen to you, you need to understand your place. This is the 21st century and you have no right to order around independent people. An outsider should act like an outsider." Then she pushed him away, leaving him speechless. Shui Lin is calm and collected and she loves silence. However, if anyone crosses their boundaries and makes her suffer, she will show them hell. As long as others are good to her, she is an angel from heaven, and as long as others are hurting her, she is a demon from hell. There's no doubt about that. And here they thought that they could control her. It's laughable. Shui Lin spent that night in a well-secured hotel. She bought some clothes before going to the hotel. The first thing she did after going to her room was taking her clothes off and then going to the bathroom. She turned on the shower and the cold water sprayed over her body. Droplets of cold water mixed with her salty tears. Her expression didn't change, but uncontrollable tears rolled down to her cheeks. She sat down on the wet floor and covered her face with her legs and hands. When she felt empty inside, only then she stood up and turned off the shower. She dried herself and then dragged her tired body to bed. Her body felt heavy. After covering herself with a comforter, the swollen eyes finally closed. Chapter 16 I Came, I Saw, I Married Part 4 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ring. 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 Shui Lin could hardly open her eyes. She reached out her right hand and tried to look for her enemy, mobile phone, who just destroyed her beauty sleep. When one's heart, mind, and body are tired, sleeping is the best remedy. However, some trash just took it away from her. She became irritated. She was mad at herself for not turning off her cell phone before sleeping. But she didn't give anyone her number. After creating havoc on the bed for a while, she found out her cell phone. Hello. Her voice was hoarse to the point that she couldn't recognize her voice. Last night, she cried and she just woke up, it changed her voice. Mississippi Lin. The voice was confused. I am. And who am I talking to? Her brain was functioning properly. The person seemed apologetic. You must be sleeping, I'm so sorry, Miss Lin. I'm the manager of the bank. I called you for something urgent. Shui Lin yawned. Oh, it's you. Good morning. Urgent is it? What happened? The manager said, Good morning, Miss Lin, I got a call from the higher up and he said that your credit card procession has been cancelled. Shui Lin's eyes flew open. Her sleep was gone in a blink. She sat up straight and asked, What did you just say? He replied, He didn't tell me the details, but someone ordered the bank to cancel your credit card procession. Miss Lin, have you offended anyone recently? He was feeling bad for this little miss. I don't know, I'll come by later. Shui Lin hung up. Her mind was blank. What just happened? It's certainly not a good morning. Shui Lin realized that her mind was in a mess. She stood up and went to the washroom. She freshened up while thinking about the situation. Someone I offended. Shui Lin recalled last night. I can't say someone. I offended a bunch of people. She narrowed her eyes. My parents don't know that I applied for another credit card. But my scheming mother can think about it. Still, they cannot cancel the procession. They do have enough money to stop it, but they don't have that much power. If it's money and power, then that family from yesterday. They seem to have enough money and power. What was the name of the family again? Shui Lin tried to remember the name of the family, but she didn't give much attention last night to memorize it. She sighed. With power and connection, they can easily find out my moves and stop me from going abroad. Wait, if they know about my credit card and knowing about my passport won't be that hard. Shui Lin's hand stopped brushing her teeth. She looked at herself through the mirror. She gazed at her face blankly before hurriedly washed her face and then changed into a shirt, pants, and a pair of sneakers, and then, she got out of the room. She directly went to the passport office and asked the same officer. The officer recognized her since he just saw her yesterday. He said, Oh Miss Lin, I didn't think you would come today as well. Shui Lin didn't go with formalities and directly asked, Has my passport processing been cancelled? The officer blinked. Huh? What do you mean? Why will that happen? He had no clue whatever she was talking about. Please check. Shui Lin's tone was full of urgency. Please wait a moment. The officer politely said. He checked something on the computer and then frowned. Miss Lin, I don't know from where or what you heard, but you are correct. Your passport processing was cancelled yesterday. It's strange though. Let me check to the main office. He dialed some numbers and talked to someone over the telephone. After he was done talking, he looked at Xue Lin and said, I'm very sorry, Miss Lin. But it's an order from the higher-ups. There's nothing I can do. Xue Lin forgot to breathe. Finally, she nodded and bowed. Thank you for helping me. After that, she left. She roamed around the street. She didn't know how long she walked. She dragged her feet to the bank of the Yellow River. She sat on the grass field and looked blankly at the river. Now what? What should I do? Xue Lin couldn't think of a way out of this. Chapter 17 I Came, I Saw, I Married Part 5 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xue Lin thought about yesterday's incident. She didn't disrespect that family with the scoundrel young man. She splashed the water aiming her father. Nothing happened to that family. However, before she left. Mister, tell your father that I'm not interested in someone's command whom I never met before. If he has enough free time, tell him to play with dolls. Human beings have lots of things to do. They don't have time for his childish game. It's a nasty one too. Is it because I called him Mr. or is it because I mentioned his father inappropriately? I spoke truthfully though. However, whatever it is, it made that family angry. Maybe, it's the old guy. Xue Lin shook her head. No, I shouldn't assume without evidence. Sigh. It's easy to blame others though. A gentle breeze blew and rippled the calm river. The youthful green grass danced with the wind and emitted a wonderful smell of the wet soil. The river reflected the blue sky and white clouds. There was a boat not so far away. The boatman was catching fish with his iron rod. It was a wonderful place to relax. However, Xue Lin's head was brainstorming. She didn't have the mood to enjoy nature. The more Xue Lin thought about the situation, the more she sank in the darkness. No. I can't think negatively. If I only think about the problem, I'll never find a way out, but if I think of possibilities, I will find more opportunities. She told herself. Xue Lin doesn't have a habit of asking for others' help if it's not that important. She is too embarrassed to ask for help. But this time, it's very important. And she needs someone powerful to help her. Thinking about someone powerful, she first thought about Mulan. She immediately rejected the idea. No, I can't disturb my friends for something so personal. Moreover, I lost all of their numbers. What can I do? She again asked herself. She rubbed her head. Growl only then she remembered that she didn't have breakfast. Now I understand why I'm feeling dizzy. Usually, in the morning, she eats a lot. It gives her more energy this way. However, if she misses her breakfast, she feels weak. I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong information. Previously, I said, when one's heart, mind, and body are tired, sleeping is the best remedy. It's not completely true. The truth is, when one's heart, mind, and body are tired, sleeping and eating are the best remedies. After all, an empty stomach will always cry for food. If the body doesn't stay strong, the mind can't stay strong either. Xue Lin stood up and wobbled on the way. She went to the nearest restaurant and ordered 5 people's meals. The waiter thought that some friends of hers would join later. But to his surprise, Xue Lin ate all by herself. She didn't waste a single drop of food since she hated wasting food. After her stomach was filled with delicious Chinese breakfast, she burped and rubbed her stomach. The stomach was satisfied. It gave her body strength and helped her to think properly. She suddenly remembered that there was her mentor living in Beijing. If I had my previous mobile, I could at least call my boss. Now I can only go to the office. I hope they didn't forget me. And I also hope that I can remember the way to the office. I can't seem to remember where it was. She pondered deeply. Suddenly she thought of a way out. Am I becoming an idiot after living with my family for a few days? They are affecting my brain, I see. I have WeChat and I can contact my boss and others. As she thought, Shui Lin took out her cell phone and sent a text to her boss. She waited for 30 minutes but there was no reply. He must be busy or maybe he is in another country and sleeping at this moment. What to do? She exhaled loudly. Maybe I should visit the office and see for myself. She bought a lemonade on the way and took a cab. After she went to the office, she found out that the office was closed. Today isn't my day. Shui Lin didn't stay outside and went back to the hotel. She didn't want to think about it anymore. If she kept thinking about it, she wouldn't find any solution. The more she will think about it, the more her mind will get messy. That's why she diverted her attention to something else. She opened her laptop and started rechecking her thesis paper on criminal psychology. Though she was studying psychology in Germany, in the summer breaks, she admitted to the Department of Criminal Psychology. Since it wasn't her major subject, she couldn't help the police with the investigation as a practical test. However, her professor said that he would allow her if only she could write a thesis paper on criminal psychology. Now that she has some time, she wants to finish her thesis, and then she will send it to the professor. Chapter 18 I Came, I Saw, I Married Part 6 You are listening at novelfull.audio. A city The Su family resident elder Su Fengfei was looking at the Go board intensely. His partner made another move and then he smiled and moved his black tile and said cheerfully. Yes. I won. His partner sighed. He was frustrated. It was the 5th time he lost to his friend today. Another game, he said. Su Fengfei stopped him. Hold on a second. You have never lost like that before. Your mind isn't here. If you play like this, you will lose again. Envied at his partner glared at him. Why will I lose? This time, you will definitely lose. Another round. Su Fengfei agreed. Fine, fine. I'll play along. Winning like this isn't bad either. How about we make a bet this time? If you lose, I'll take the * Song Dynasty's imperial seal from you. His partner's eyes widened. Why don't you are a robber. You dare to steal in broad daylight. Su Fengfei shrugged. You are the one who is insisting on playing. If you want to win, pay attention. Sigh. His partner gave up. Let's not play anymore. I don't think I can win like this. Su Fengfei asked, did something happen? I've never seen you like this. His partner said, it's my family. Su Fengfei was curious. Didn't you arrange a marriage partner for that scoundrel? Is this about it? Ha! You are sharp, Xiao Fei. It's just that the girl refused to marry him. Of course, I understand her feelings but I didn't think they would be so hard on her. They prevented her from going abroad to continue her study saying she insulted the whole family. This partner sighed again. I never thought that something like this was going to happen. If I knew. Su Fengfei interrupted his partner. Hold on. Did you just say that she not only rejected the proposal, she even insulted your whole family? He couldn't believe that someone would dare to oppose the Gu family. Yes. Are you deaf? The elder of the Gu family felt irritated. His friend was making fun of him again. That's why he didn't want to tell him about this. Su Fengfei burst into laughter. Ahahaha. I'm intrigued. I want to know the whole story. A handsome young man drove a limited edition Lamborghini Centenario Roadster to the Su residence. He stopped the car in front of the entrance. He got out of the car. His Tom Ford custom shoes shone and the diamonds reflected in the sunlight. Its price is $2 million US. His Secret Circus blue jeans were classic and high-quality diamonds were sewed on the back pockets. Its price is $1.3 million US. His black superlative luxury T-shirt's price is $400,000 US. His Burberry shearling pea coat is from Burberry, one of the oldest fashion brands in the world. His Jacob U0026 company. Billionaire diamond wristwatch glittered. His inky black hair covered his face as the wind blew strongly. With his right hand, he moved his hair backward. His gray eyes narrowed slightly in the sunlight. An old butler came forward and welcomed him with a bow. "Welcome back, young master. Have you been well?" "I'm fine. Are they home?" His gray eyes landed on the butler. The butler replied, "Yes, young master." "Will you stay for the night?" "I'm planning to." Saying that he walked inside. He found two old men gossiping in the study room. "I'm back." He let them know about his presence. Two old men stopped talking and looked at the intruder. Su Fengfei exclaimed, "Xiao Chen, I didn't know that you would come home today. When did you arrive?" Gu Chen replied calmly, "Just now. I came directly from the airport." Gu Guiran asked, "How was your Italy visit?" Gu Chen's gray eyes were deep as he thought about some incidents. Then he quietly replied, "It was good." He sat down on the nearest couch. "Last time you went to buy some equipment. Why did you go there this time?" Su Fengfei asked. Gu Chen replied. The Mu family held a ball ***. They announced Mu Feng's fiancé as the head of the Mu family. He poured tea for himself and took a sip. "The equipment you bought from your last visit, you didn't show us." Gu Guiran said. Gu Chen answered, "I'll show you later. I've brought them with me. I heard some rumors about the auction. A young girl invented them. Did you find out who she is? Our company can hire her." Su Fengfei excitedly said. Gu Chen gave him a small smile. "She is Mu Liang's fiancée. You can't poach her." Su Fengfei clenched his fists. "Damn that lucky brat. Why don't you snatch her away?" he suggested. "I'm not interested in her." Gu Chen shook his head. If he was, it would be World War III. However, his eyes already found someone else. He didn't need his best friend's woman. "Good for you. I've already decided on a marriage partner for you. Check for yourself." Gu Guiran pointed out at the desk. Gu Chen stood up and took the documents from the desk. He read the file and then closed it silently. "Rejected." His tone was calm and yet firm. "Don't defy me." Gu Guiran got angry. However, Gu Chen's expression didn't change. Su Fengfei laughed out loud. "Guiran, you are the elder of the Gu family and yet this is the second time someone defied you like this. Just like that girl from yesterday." Gu Chen looked at Su Fengfei. He wanted to know what happened yesterday. The Song Dynasty, 960 to 1297, was founded by Emperor Taizu of Song. His name sounds majestic but in Wikipedia, his portrait is quite different. He was fatty and ugly. I'm not trying to attack China with this comment. It's just a personal statement. Please don't take it in your heart. Gu Chen went to visit Mu Castle in Italy to attend a ball. The party was held for Muhammad Akram. At the same time, Mulan announced a new head of the household and that was Qi Ying. From handsome CEO's darling wife. Chapter 19 I Came, I Saw, I Married Part 7 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mister, tell your father that I'm not interested in someone's command whom I never met before. If he has enough free time, tell him to play with dolls. Human beings have lots of things to do. They don't have time for his childish game. It's a nasty one too. Did she really say that? Gu Chen looked at his paternal grandfather Gu Guiren. Gu Guiren replied, I already have the footage of last night's incident. If you don't believe me, see for yourself. Gu Chen was curious. He didn't think a girl like that existed who would dare talk like that to his father, aiming his grandfather. He turned on the laptop and looked at the footage. The moment Xue Lin entered the screen, his fingers paused. His gaze sharpened as he saw how her family and his family treated her. Blood rushed through his body and his veins almost popped out. No one noticed his expression. Su Fengfei exclaimed, this girl is so fierce. I thought she might be some proud girl, but she is completely different from what I've imagined. She is the nerdy type. It's a good thing that she rejected him. She deserves better. After watching the clip, Gu Chen stood up. As he was leaving, Gu Guiren called out, where are you going? You have to meet your marriage partner. She is from an influential family. She needs to get married to our family if we want the Gu Corporation to overpower the Li Corporation. Gu Chen paused at the words. He glanced back over his shoulder and his gray eyes narrowed. I'm not connected to the Gu Corporation in any way. She is better off with that grandson of yours. And also, you shouldn't have tried to ruin an innocent girl's life by forcing her to marry your grandson. That was a low move. After he left, Su Fengfei blinked. Is he angry at you? He never saw Gu Chen getting mad at someone before. He looked at his friend. He is right about one thing though. You shouldn't have ruined an innocent girl's life. She looks like a middle school kid and a nerdy one at that. She can't even complete her studies now. I feel bad for her. Why don't you help her then? Gu Guiren screamed, I already told my son not to be harsh on a little kid. But he didn't listen. It's not my fault, Su Fengfei said, you never take responsibility for your action. That's why things end up like this, he sighed. And I have no interest in making moves. Somehow I feel like something good is going to happen. I will leave it to Xiao Qin. Gu Chen went upstairs and dialed someone's number. The person answered the call immediately. Boss, is there something you need? Gu Chen ordered, Mingyu, send me a pair of clothes. The one you usually wear. Commoner clothes. Assistant Mingyu thought that he heard wrong. Gu Chen instructed. Yes. And tell the pilot to ready my plane. I want to go to Yinchuan City. Also, find out the location of the girl Fa Shuelin, that scoundrel's marriage partner. I want everything ready within 4 hours. Alright, I understand. Assistant Mingyu hung up and looked at his cell phone strangely. Why is the boss suddenly interested in a girl? Why is he asking for commoner's clothes? Too suspicious. Gu Chen found the old butler and told him, I won't stay tonight. No need to prepare my bedroom. The old butler bowed and politely said, as you wish, young master. In his room, Gu Chen was taking off his clothes when he got a call. He answered, Louis, why are you calling now? Louis replied, I heard that you came back. It has been a while since we had some fun. Let's go out tonight. Gu Chen said, I'm going to Yinchuan City tonight. If you want to meet, come to the Su residence within 30 minutes. Louis nodded. All right. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Gu Chen took a bath and changed his clothes. After that, he went downstairs and found Louis in the living room. He looked up and saw Gu Chen. He was a handsome Italian man with blonde hair and clear blue eyes. Seeing his friend all dressed up, Louis asked, do you want to go out? Gu Chen calmly replied, yes, come with me. Louis followed him out of the house. Where are we going? To buy a car. We will take your car. Gu Chen got inside the car and so did Louis. Louis started on the engine. Sure. But don't you already have 15 cars? Why do you need more? Gu Chen muttered softly, to make someone understand that I'm harmless. There was a hint of a smile on his lips.